There's a version of crowd management that works by giving people rules, and a version that works by making the right behavior the only behavior that feels natural. Japan went with the second one, and built it into the physical environment so precisely that millions of people follow the same movement patterns every day without ever being told to. This video covers 14 of those physical details, from floor markings to sound frequencies to the exact layout of a convenience store, and explains the mechanical logic behind each one. Number 1. Train platform queue markings. Most transit systems handle boarding chaos with signs, staff, or announcements. Japan put the answer on the floor. The markings on a Tokyo train platform aren't generic lines. They're positioned to match the exact door locations of whichever train type stops there, so different platforms have different patterns, and the system works even on your first visit because you don't have to read anything. You just see where everyone else is standing and the floor tells you why. When a physical marker shows you exactly where to stand, you don't have to negotiate with the person next to you. One position looks obviously correct, and every other position feels slightly off, so the queue forms on its own. That's choice architecture. The easiest option and the right option are the same thing, and the floor made that decision before you arrived. Number 2. Platform screen doors at busy stations. Platform screen doors are a safety feature, but that's not the most interesting thing they do. Before screen doors, a crowded platform was basically a negotiation. People spread along the edge, clustered near where they guessed the doors would stop, and the whole platform surface was up for grabs. Screen doors end that completely because the only place you can board is where the gap in the barrier lines up with the train door. That forces the crowd into defined columns, and those columns are already the queue lines marked on the floor, so both systems reinforce each other. Stations that installed screen doors saw fewer accidents and faster boarding times, but the less reported effect is that they need far fewer staff to manage platform behavior, because the physical structure does that job instead. Number 3. Color-coded train lines and transit maps. Color-coding a transit map is basic design. What Japan did is different. The color for each line isn't just on the map. It's on the train cars, the platform pillars, the ticket machines, and the station name boards, so you're not reading text and then cross-referencing a map. You're tracking a single color through physical space, and that's a much faster process for your brain. Reading a sign takes conscious attention. Recognizing a color you've already connected to your destination is closer to a reflex, and at a busy junction where dozens of people are making the same decision at the same time, that speed difference is exactly where congestion either forms or doesn't. Number 4. Precise platform numbering and carriage position guides. Most stations tell you which platform. Japan tells you which exact spot on the platform, down to the car number and door position, printed on the floor, on the overhead signs, and on the pillars right next to where you're standing. People don't naturally spread themselves evenly along a platform. They bunch up near the entrance stairs, so the closest cars get slammed while the cars at the far end board fast and leave half empty. The carriage position guide fixes this without anyone enforcing it, because it tells you which car to board for the fastest exit at your destination, so passengers sort themselves by where they're going. Number 5. Clear multilingual signage in public spaces. There's a difference between a sign that tells you something and a sign that catches you before you make the wrong turn. Japan built the second kind. The signage in major stations is positioned to intercept you at every decision point. Before the fare gates, at the top of the escalator, at the corridor junction. You get the information before you need to act on it, not after you've already committed to the wrong direction. A person who stops mid-corridor to read a sign creates a jam, so the whole system is designed to make sure you never have to stop. Number 6. Quiet phone etiquette on public transportation. Ride a Japanese train for the first time and you'll probably notice the quiet after a few stops. Not immediately, but gradually, once your brain registers that something is missing. There's no enforcement, no announcements reminding people to keep it down, no staff walking the cars. What there is are small stickers near the doors and messages on the screens inside the car, phrased as gentle suggestions that name the expected behavior out loud. And that's enough. Because once you can see what everyone around you is already doing, not doing it feels conspicuous. Number 7. Designated walking lanes in major stations. The busiest station corridors in Japan move two streams of people at the same time, fast commuters and slower walkers, without them constantly running into each other. Sometimes the lanes are painted on the floor with arrows. Sometimes they're just convention. Either way, they hold. What makes them work isn't the markings, it's the corridor width. If a hallway fits exactly two comfortable streams of foot traffic side by side, two streams form on their own, because that's the path of least resistance for everyone in it. Pedestrian flow research shows that people naturally start forming lanes once a space gets dense enough, but they do it faster and more consistently when the physical environment gives them a channel to form into. Japan's station corridors are built to those widths on purpose, so the lanes aren't rules people follow, they're just what the space produces. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video if you're enjoying the content. Number 8. Priority seating areas on trains and buses. Priority seats exist in most countries. In Japan, the physical setup and the behavior around them are different enough that the seats function as a flow tool, not just an accessibility feature. The seats are a different color from the rest of the car, positioned at the ends near the doors and marked with icons. But during rush hour, a lot of passengers won't sit in them even when the car is packed, because if someone who needs a seat boards and you're in that spot, the social cost of that moment is high enough that standing feels easier. Number 9. Tactile paving for visually impaired pedestrians. The raised yellow strips you see on Japanese sidewalks and station floors aren't decoration. Dots mean stop or pay attention, and lines mean follow this path, and together they form a navigable network that runs through platforms, intersections, and public buildings across the entire country. The system originated in Japan in the 1960s and got standardized nationally, which is what makes it actually work. A pattern that means different things in different cities isn't navigable, so Japan made it consistent everywhere, meaning a visually impaired person who learns it once can use it anywhere in the country. Number 10. Bicycle parking zones that keep sidewalks clear. Japan has a lot of cyclists, and the sidewalks are clear. That combination doesn't happen by accident. In most cities where cycling is popular but parking infrastructure hasn't kept up, bikes end up chained to railings and stacked against walls. That narrows pedestrian paths, blocks people with mobility aids, and creates random obstacles in spaces that need to stay clear. Japan built designated bicycle parking zones at transit hubs, including automated underground systems where you roll your bike up to a street-level entrance, scan your card, and a machine pulls it underground into a robotic storage rack. Number 11. Umbrella stands and lockers at building entrances. Walk into almost any building in Japan on a rainy day, and there's a small dispenser near the entrance with thin plastic sleeves for your umbrella. You slide the wet end in, pull it out wrapped, and carry it normally without dripping on anything. That matters because a wet umbrella dragged through a high-volume space, a supermarket, a train station, drops water across the whole floor, and in a busy building that's both a slip hazard and a constant cleaning job. Shops and buildings install these dispensers on their own, not because a regulation requires it, but because wet floors cost money and create liability. Same logic drives the coin lockers at station entrances, which pull large bags out of the pedestrian flow before they ever get inside. Number 12. Detailed waste sorting systems with clear labels. Japan has almost no public trash cans, and the streets are nearly spotless. Those two facts sit together in a way that doesn't immediately make sense. The explanation is that waste sorting gets handled at home, not in public. Most municipalities run sorting systems detailed enough to fill a booklet with specific rules about which category goes out on which day and how to prepare each type. So when people are out, they tend to carry their trash home rather than hunt for a bin because they know they'll need to sort it anyway. Number 13. Convenience stores designed for fast customer flow. A konbini is roughly the size of a large living room, and it moves more customers per square meter than almost any other store format in the world. The layout is what makes that possible. Drinks and snacks sit at the back, so you walk past everything else to reach them. The register queue runs along one wall so it doesn't block the entrance, and the counter is narrow enough that transactions move fast. The hot food case sits right next to the register, close enough that the smell hits you while you're waiting to pay. Chains update these layouts using transaction data, tracking which products get bought together and adjusting placement to cut the time between walking in and walking out. Number 14. Highly punctual public transportation schedules. Japanese rail operators treat a 2-minute delay as a systems failure. Not a bad day. Drivers trained to stop at exact positions on the platform, within centimeters, every single time. That precision is what makes everything else in this video actually work. The floor markings tell you where to stand, because you know which train is coming and exactly where its doors will stop. The carriage position guides work because the train hits the same spot on every run. Screen doors align with train doors because the train arrives at the position it's supposed to, not close to it. Every system in this video is a physical object or a scheduled process. The floor markings, the screen doors, the umbrella sleeves, the train schedule. These are engineering decisions that produce behavioral outcomes, and they'd produce the same outcomes anywhere they got implemented consistently. Next time you're in a chaotic, crowded space, don't ask why people are behaving badly. Ask what the physical environment isn't telling them. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and support the channel for more content.